Hello and welcome to another continuation of my 8-bit gaming years. Yes, I decided I was going to branch out and start talking and playing some of those classic games that I played in my youth. And these games, they could come from anywhere from 1970 something right up to now, although my 8-bit gaming years in my youth were 1978 to around about 1987. And I really wanted to show off some of these classic games because I still think they have relevance now. So what have I chosen for today? So we'll just bring up the images section of this and bring up image 1. And you can see here that we've got an absolute classic, Bruce Lee. Yes. Now, Bruce Lee was quite important to me because it was one of the first games that I ever actually bought on disc. Yes, the Commodore 64 was quite an expensive machine back in the day, but the most expensive device I ever bought was the disc drive. It was actually more than the computer itself, or pretty close to it, and it wasn't the fastest loader out there either, because Commodore had some problems with their disk drives with the controller, but a disk drive started to become a bit of a must for me, so I bought one as fast as I possibly can, but had a tape for quite some time. So what is Bruce Lee? Well, it's a platform game. The story goes that he's searching for the evil sorcerer to defeat him. There are different traps and 2 enemies that give Bruce a hard time. There is a black ninja who constantly attacks Bruce with a stick, but he can easily be knocked out. The more dangerous enemy is Yamo, who, as Bruce knows, he knows how to do jumping kicks just like Bruce does. He's green, you can't miss him. He's like a Shrek type creature. You need 3 kicks to defeat Yamo. To get to the other rooms, Bruce can climb onto the nets, upwards, downwards, sideways, and when Bruce collects all the lanterns that are on the screens, doors are open, or he can go into the next room. Bruce has 5 lives to get to the chamber of the sorcerer and to defeat him there. Now, I was led to believe there are around about 20 screens. I have completed it, but there are some difficulties with Bruce Lee depending on the version that you have. Now, I've seen lots and lots of videos where you can go from one screen to another and the whole screen fills with characters and resets the Commodore 64. Apparently there is a small bug, and it happens between the American version and the European version. The problem is, if you've got the tape version or the disc version, you don't know what version is on those discs. So basically it's a little bit hit and miss whether you're going to have a problem. It wasn't a problem back in the day, because if you bought Bruce Lee, you bought it in the country that you were getting it from. So you'd buy the European version of Bruce Lee on disc if you were in the UK or in Europe, and you'd buy the American version if you were in America. Okay, so they've got some information up on the screen for you that you can see there. It came out on quite a few different machines. Here's a couple of screens that I brought up just to show you what it looks like or what you can be expecting. There's quite a nice little track screen that you've got there. The menu screen is a little bit slack on sort of like flair. It's just some text. It gives you several options. You can play 1 player, or you can play 2-player alternate, or there is another one where your opponent can also take over and you can play together, so you can sort of like have a bit of a bashing up together. And then of course there is the good old start. It plays a little bit of a tune, nothing fantastic, but it's great. And then the third picture that I'm showing there is sort of what you can expect from the gaming graphics. This did come out on several different machines, and I've played just about every single one of them. I don't think there's a version out there that I haven't played. There is the good old Atari or Atari 800 version, the 8-bit versions of the Atari. Very, very close to the Commodore 64 version, and many consider it to be the better version. And I'm not too far from saying that that's not true either. It seems to be a little bit snappier, the colours seem to be a little bit better, but it is very, very tight in regards to whether the Atari version or the 64 version is better. I played the 64 version, so I'm a little bit biased. There is the Amstrad version, which I don't think looks too bad, but you can definitely tell it's not as good as the Commodore 64 or Atari, in my opinion. Remember, these are all just my opinions. The Apple II version, for the time, isn't too bad a version. A little bit lax in sound, a bit choppy is the best way to explain that. And then there are the last three versions that I've played anyway. There is the BBC Micro version, which I really didn't get on with at all. Very, very jerky movement, graphics a little bit uninspired. A lot of people like the Spectrum version, and the Spectrum version got a respectable score. But the trouble is with me is I can put the two games both together, and it's really chalk and cheese. There's a picture of the Spectrum version. Looks perfectly okay, bit blackish, bit bland. You could say the same about the 64 version, but it really is how it moves, how it handles in your hand. And the last particular version that we can see there is the PC DOS, which was in CGA mode, so it had a restriction on the amount of colours that you could possibly have. Now, this game is quite old. It's 1984, so like I say, it was one of the early games that I bought, and it was one of the earliest games that I bought on disk drive. That doesn't mean that my magazine of choice, Zap64, didn't actually review it. They actually did. It came out a lot later in the issues of Zap64 because they could only review it when it came out on budget. So yes, this game started off at full price. The disc version was somewhere in the region of $14.99. I think the cassette was $8.99 when it first came out. A couple of years later on budget, hey presto, you can buy it for £1.99. So what did our reviewers think of it? They loved it. 92% for £1.99. They were basically saying, how can you do wrong? And to be quite honest, I'm hard to actually turn around and say, hey, they're absolutely in the wrong with this. There are many people that look at Bruce Lee, the game, as being an absolute classic, and I'm one of them. The thing is, it is dated, it is fairly old, it's fairly sparse, and a little bit easy. I'm not going to show off how easy it is because I haven't played it for many years, but I think if you were to sort of like compare it to, say, another platform game like Manic Miner, you're doing it a disservice. Yes, they're similar. They have a character, the character can walk and jump and has to get certain things to get off of the screen. The thing about Bruce Lee and Manic Miner, just to show you those two differences, is that Manic Miner is incredibly hard, and it needs to be hard, and Bruce Lee is more of an adventurer. You've got to get to the sorcerer to kill him, and you've got 20 screens to do it, and you tend to find that Manic Miner is a progressive, where once you've done one screen you go to the second screen, you then go to the third screen. In Bruce Lee you can actually choose the screens you want to go to. So not the best comparison I could ever give because they are two distinctly different games, but it's just that sometimes I think people go over the top in regards to how easy the game is. So we're now going to move to game recording. so that I can sort of like show you how bad I really am at this game. So I'm going to start up my emulator and load it in. Hopefully it won't take too long. And we'll be able to play on the game. Just loading in. And that really is the game tune. It really was very simplistic back in 1984. There wasn't any of these fantastic musicians back in the day. And as you can see, you can change your players, flip between them. You can actually change it so that your opponent can also be computer controlled or human controlled. And then you can start the game. So let's start the game, shall we? I think I've got the right joystick selected. And here we go. Let's see how I do. There I am in the corner. Quite a nimble little thing is Bruce Lee. Here comes the old black ninja. He only needs a couple of kicks and he's out the way. And there's our good friend Yamo. Basically, I always think he looks like Shrek. There we go. And like I say, you can go back to that screen if you wanted to. But the whole idea is to get all of the lanterns off of the screen. That's all you've got to do to move to the next one. Yamo's quite hard. He takes 3 kicks to get him down. You don't necessarily have to kill them. It's a matter of getting the lanterns and destroying the sorcerer at the end. So we'll just move through this quite quickly, hopefully. Cool, I got rid of him quick. Oh, he got the kick in a bit earlier. Get him out of the way. Get the old ninja boy out of the way. And now, when I first played this, I got totally stuck. I was going, well, what do I do now? Where do I go? I can't go right. The only thing I can do is go left, so that's exactly what I did. And if you do that, you'll see an entrance opens. And once you go down there, you're in the catacombs. Now it starts to get a little bit tricky. There we go, got him. And sometimes you could be really good here. Now I'm going to land on them, hopefully. And that'll knock them down, so give me that little bit of time. Yes. Ah, I thought I could just get there then. You have to time that really well. But basically there's this little judder that you get, and it can sometimes slow you right down just at the end. Go along here, leap through there, and now you can sort of see you're going to do this in 2 sort of sections. So I want to get that right one first. I'm on a sort of like a cloth that's sort of like going up, and you can control the speed by moving up or down on your joystick for that one. Now you can only collect the lights when they blink open, and you really want to avoid that laser that's going down there. So we want it open and the laser's just gone. There we go. And hopefully you can sort of like jump up and not have to worry about these down here, because I've only got to get that lantern on the left hand side. So as you can see, that's moving a bit quicker because I was moving the joystick around. Let's get that lantern. There we go. I think it might have just ruined that. Oh no, got it. That's good. So all I've got to do now is worry about the laser at the bottom of this plinth, on this fall here. So there we go. And like I say, if you time it right, it's great. Now you have to be careful of these little bushes, because they turn into real hard, nasty plants that you can die, but you can usually kick them into it. Oh. It's quite random where the characters respawn, so you have to be very careful. That's it. If you can push them straight into it, great. Now this one always used to bug me, because sometimes it can be really tricky and sometimes it can be really easy. Because what we need to do here is do one of the first sort of like laser table maneuvers, where the laser is coming towards you and you have to leap, and then on the return journey it's following behind you, which is much simpler. So we'll move across, you'll see exactly what I mean. Here we go. So this is the laser table. Usually very, very simple, because you just jump, 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 and you can get the lamps. Now it's heading towards you. And we need to now go back up. So notice that we're doing screens in sort of like different orders. We're progressing, but going around a little bit. Now I think I did get everything out of here, which I did. So we now need to sort of like go over to the right again. Only this time we're going to go and do these lamps up here. Now you don't want to move the sort of curtain too fast, because you'll be moving up as you're trying to go across. Look, and you'll poke your head onto that sword and die. So what I'm trying to do now is control the speed by moving it going down. So I can control that and then move across. Yay! Again, I've opened another. Oh damn! I've moved wrong, and I think I've done that wrong as well there. Yeah, that's in my haste. Get used to the joystick again can be a little bit tricky. So, but I moved diagonally on there. Look, my God, that suddenly sped up. Okay, go down, 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 down. See, I'm trying to get this thing to go down. There we go. It's slowly doing it. And all I've got to do is just jump across there and then go right. There we go. We've got another one of these laser tables. I think that's what I call them. So some are easier than others. Now we need to go up and across, and we need to go across here. Okay. So this one, I could jump across, which I'm going to, and then fall down and hope I catch onto that ledge. Just looking at the lasers that are going across. Now. No, did that wrong. I need to fall down. Go back up. Like I say, not difficult. I mean, I didn't die then, so I've got another chance at it, and there's no time. So this is really how a game can be considered easy. So on here now, I'm just going to fall down. There we are. Jump across. And I've got to get up to that one up in there. Like I say, you want to control this sort of like conveyor belt type thing, because you do need to then go down afterwards. So there we are, we've done that one. And we need to go down here and get this. There we go. And you'll see that there is a sort of a door that's appeared right at the top of this screen. It's like just a little block. So that's where I need to head to now. And we're heading now back to our friends. The old ninja and the ammo, who hasn't been around for a couple of screens. That opens another door. We'll go along here. We now need to get these screens. So we've been here before. This is when we first dropped down. I don't know if you remember that. Oh, damn, fell down there. Yeah. Ah, if you move too fast to the right, then basically you go off screen. So you have to be really careful. Right, got it. Do the same over here. Got it. And then up. And we're back at the beginning. So you'll notice that the big sort of like monument is making a noise, and you'll see that there is now a little square open at the bottom, which was never there before. And we're coming across now some little tricky bits. Again, not too overly over the top. But you had the floors there that open and disappear. And we're now getting these little lamps that have got little dots on them. Ah. Haha, punched him. Oh. Whoa. He's going to stab me. No, he's not. There he is now. He's going to try and punch me. Remember, you've only got 5 falls, so you have to be very careful. And there we are. Got the right at the end. But I think you get the idea. I'm just going to kill myself here. In the fact that there are 20 screens like this, and to be quite honest, I consider this to be an absolute classic. Just going to go back to sign off. So I do apologise for the coughing, but Bruce Lee is very much one of those games that was very influential to me in the early days of the Commodore 64. The sprites were very small, but they moved very nicely, and you got into the adventure of wonder what the sorcerer looks like, what happens at the end. And so I didn't feel ripped off, even though I was paying an awful lot of money for it. Those people that bought it later on for $1.99 got an absolute bargain. So I'm going to end it here by saying this is definitely a game for you to try. There was a sort of like a 1.5 version later on, extra levels, and people have liked this so much that they've done their own versions. You can find fan versions. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you'll go out there and experience Bruce Lee to yourself, and with that I'm going to say salute, and thanks very much for watching. Till next time, bye bye.